everybody, my name is Tanya and today I'm going to talk about another reading goal that I have for 2015, and that's something that I am so excited about, and that is the BookTube Recommends project. So this is something that I originally saw on Rachel from Shades of Orange's channel. She did a BookTube Recommend project, but some more booktubers are taking it up as a challenge for 2015, a project for 2015, and I've decided to jump on the bandwagon because it seems like a really good idea to kind of reach out to fellow booktubers and to read some things that you wouldn't necessarily have read otherwise or wouldn't have got to, and I'm really excited to get to everything that I've been recommended. Eleanor from Eleanor Reads Books is doing this next year. She asks 12 different booktubers to recommend a book, one for each month. Patty from I Smell Books also asked me to recommend a book for her, and I'm super excited to see what she thinks about the book I recommended and also to see what everybody else has recommended to her. And I think there are some other people that are also considering doing this goal for next year, so I am super excited about it and would definitely highly recommend it to anybody who's thinking about doing it because I think it's a great idea. So the premise is you ask a number of booktubers, however many you want, for a recommendation for you to read. I've decided to go with Eleanor with Patty and to do 12, so one a month. I was a little bit worried to start with whether I would be able to come up with a list of 12 booktubers that I didn't feel completely awkward in asking for a recommendation, but I started writing down a list and I found that I actually went past 12 and there were more people that I wanted to ask than I could fit in. So if I didn't ask you, it's probably because I ran out of room, and maybe I'll do this again next year and I'll choose either. So I sent out emails a couple of weeks ago and I've got back all my recommendations from 12 different booktubers, and so I will be reading one a month for the next year. So as to how I'm going to decide which order to read them in, to keep it entirely fair and completely random, I have created a TBR jar for this, and I have put in the names of all the books that I've been recommended, and I'm going to draw from this every month when I'm filming my TBR video. I'm going to find out at the same time as you guys, or at least I'm going to find out before you because it's not uploaded then, but you know, I'm going to live pull out what I'm going to read for that month, and so there's no complaining that I put you last because the TBR jar did it. It's not my fault. There are some things that I just want to read them all now. It's going to be so sad waiting 12 months to get to some of the stuff on here, but that's the problem with asking so many people. But TBR jar's deciding, so I filmed a video earlier of my creating this and talking about my other TBR jars that I have, so that will be coming at some point soon, but I wanted to get this video out first. But so there is my little TBR jar that will be sitting with these books somewhere. I'm going to have to find a place for it, but that's how I'm going to be deciding the order in which I'm going to read the books. So the books, let's actually get to what I was recommended. So first, as the person who created the whole idea, I asked Rachel from the Shades of Orange whether she would recommend a book for me, and she came back with Speak by Laurie Halse Anderson. I don't have a copy of that yet. There is one on order, and I just got the book depository notification that has been shipped. There are a few things from this list that I owned already, and then there are others that I didn't and have picked up since, and there are some others I've had to order from Book Depository, so I'm hoping that they arrive before the start of January when I will be drawing out of my TBR jar, because it's going to be a little awkward if I don't actually have the book that I pull out. So we're hoping Book Depository will step up and wing them all the way here before then. This is something she spoke about as being something that really transcends the YA genre, and I think looking at it, it seems to be the case. As I said before, I go through stages of reading YA and then I kind of get YA'd out, but this kind of book that kind of steps above that, I'm open for at any time. So really looking forward to that. Next up is the person who asked me for a recommendation and who really got me thinking about doing this project in the first place. I asked Patty from I Smell Books, and she has come back with Yes Please by Amy Poehler. She mentioned this as being a really popular read, but something that's worth the hype, and has recommended it to me particularly in audio format, which I have heard fantastic things about on BookTube lately, so I'm definitely going to grab it in audio format. So I don't really know all that much about Amy Poehler, and I haven't watched all that much that she's been in, but I am definitely intrigued after all the hype on BookTube and in reality and some things that Patty said about this. I'm definitely interested in getting to this one and am looking forward to it as an audiobook. I also asked Eleanor from Eleanor Reads Books, who's also doing the BookTube Recommends project next year, and she gave me 2 recommendations. I've decided to go with the first one that she gave, which is The Bees by Lillian Paul. But she also recommended Steelheart by Brandon Sanderson, which I think also looks amazing, and have picked up, so probably I'll be reading that at some point unofficially during the next year as well. I've heard a lot of really interesting things about the bees. I've heard it described as The Handmaid's Tale meets The Hunger Games, but for bees, which is completely mind-blowing, so I'm definitely intrigued to get to this one and see whether any of that lives up to what that sounds like. Next up is a recommendation from Jo at Jo Reads Books. I have The Amazing Adventures of Cavalier and Clay by Michael Chabon. This is something that I've been meaning to get to for such a long time, so I'm so excited for the push to finally pick it up. This is something that I already owned and has been sitting on my shelf staring at me for quite a while. The recommendation from Erica at Erica Ray Abel was something else that I've been meaning to read for the longest time, and that is Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clarke. I've got it here in the 3-volume set, but this is one big hoofer of a book which I have been meaning to read for years, and again, so excited for the push to pick this up. Erica also gave me a second option, The Master and Margarita by Mikhail Molgahov, which is again something I've been meaning to read for ages, so again might read unofficially during the year as well. Another one that I already owned is my recommendation from Jane at Yes Miss Jane, and that is American Gods by Neil Gaiman. No, I haven't read this yet. The only Neil Gaiman I have read is Coraline. I listened to the audiobook of Coraline last year, and I've really been meaning to get to more Gaiman, and this one in particular I've heard fantastic things about, so thank you Jane for picking this one. Next up was my recommendation from Sophie at Sophie the Uneducated Reader, and I was kind of hoping when I asked her, this is not the only reason that I asked her, but I was kind of hoping when I asked her that she would pick this, and that is Monkey Grip by Helen Garner. Sophie spoke so highly of this in one of her videos, and I will find it and I will link which one it is down below, but spoke about this and really made me want to pick it up, so I'm so pleased, Sophie, that you picked this because I'm really looking forward to it. I haven't read any Helen Garner, and I feel that probably is quite a sin for an Australian, so looking forward to finally getting it. And just look at this thing of beauty. Pick this up. This is one of the Penguin Australian Classics editions, and there are quite a number of things that have been published in this format, and this is the first one that I bought, and I don't know which other ones I'm going to get at this stage, whether I am, but this is just such a stunning edition, and I'm so excited to have it on my shelves and to get to it at some point in the next year. Next up, I had a recommendation from Holly at Library at the Edge of the World, and that is The Incarnations by Susan Barker. This is a library copy that I've got out at the moment, but my own copy is winging its way to me, and it's so stunning, but I can see I'm getting a bit of reflection from the window to this nice shiny cover. This is something that Holly said has been hugely underhyped, and this library copy looks pristine. Like, it doesn't even look like it's been borrowed, so I would definitely agree with that. She described this as being something in the vein of Cloud Atlas, which I have to admit I haven't actually read yet, but I keep meaning to, so hopefully I'll get to that this year as well. Maybe before this, I don't know, we'll see what the TBR jar dictates. But this is something I definitely hadn't heard of before her recommendation, so I'm really excited to get to something new that I've never heard of before and that comes highly recommended from Holly. Another one that I've got from the library at the moment, but is winging its way towards me, is The Golem and the Jinni, which was the recommendation I got from Sarah at Sarah Actually Reads. I have just read a recommendation from Sarah, which was The River of No Return by B. Ridgway, but I could not ask Sarah for another recommendation for this project because I really enjoy her videos and her reading taste, and was really interested to see what she would recommend. She says that she enjoys this one almost as much as The River of No Return, so that went really well for me. I really enjoyed that, so I'm sure that this one I will enjoy just as much. And I found it really interesting that the edition that I've got has got the silent D on Jinni, unlike her edition, so Next up, the book that I was recommended by Mercedes from Mercy's Bookish Musings is Bastard of Carolina by Dorothy Allison, which looks phenomenal, and I cannot wait to get to it. It looks like quite a dark read and just looks fantastic, so thank you so much for that pick. Next up, I asked Heather from A Logical Betty, and she recommended to me A Tree Grows in Brooklyn by Betty Smith, which I have heard nothing but fantastic things about, and so am really looking forward to picking it up. And lastly, Sam from Novels and Nonsense has recommended to me Inda by Sherwood Smith, which I have heard both she and now Sabrina from Steady Tuner absolutely rave about, and as a fantasy lover, I'm really looking forward to getting that one and seeing what all the fuss is about. So a big thank you to everybody who has recommended a book to me for this project. I really appreciate it. I will leave links to all the people who have recommended books to me down in the description, and you should definitely check them all out. They're all fantastic booktubers. So if you're planning on doing this challenge next year, do let me know in the comments so I can watch out for your videos as well. If you've read any of the books that I've been recommended, please let me know what you think down in the comments. As always, thank you all for watching, and see you next time. Bye!